The movie kicks off in 1942 with Major Gus March Phillips and Anders Lassen sailing under a Swedish flag when a German naval unit boards their boat. The German captain, annoyed by their drunk and mocking attitude, orders the ship to be doused in kerosene and set on fire, something he'd already done to another vessel before. But things flip fast when the Germans find Henry Hayes hiding below deck with a gun. He opens fire immediately, and in the chaos, Anders slits the captain's throat. The boarding party is wiped out and tossed overboard. The Germans had come from a nearby destroyer, but diver Freddy Alvarez has already planted explosives on its hull. When the destroyer starts firing at the sailboat, Gus's crew taunts it by dangling the dead German captain's body. Seconds later, the explosives blow, sending the destroyer to the bottom. Flashback to late 1941. German U-boats are tearing through the Atlantic, sinking merchant ships between the US and the UK. The British need 3 million tons of supplies every month, but U-boats are sinking nearly half. Until the Allies break Germany's grip on the Atlantic, sending American troops into Europe is off the table. 25 days earlier, with U-boats strangling Britain's lifeline, Prime Minister Winston Churchill meets Brigadier General Colin Gubbins and Lieutenant Commander Ian Fleming. Together, they plan a secret mission: hit the Italian supply ship Ducas de Duasta and its 2 tugboats, based on the Spanish-controlled island of Fernando Po off Africa's west coast. These ships are crucial for refueling and repairing Hitler's U-boats. But bombing isn't an option. The island is neutral territory, and a direct Allied strike could push the rest of neutral Europe toward the Nazis. The mission is high stakes. If caught by the British, the operatives would face prison. If caught by the Germans, torture and execution. At the SOE headquarters in London, Gubbins and Fleming, with Churchill's quiet backing, greenlight Operation Postmaster, a covert sabotage op aimed at crippling Germany's U-boat resupply chain. With SOE agents Marjorie Stewart and Richard Herron, Gubbins brings in Major Gus March Phillips to put together a ground team. Herron is already undercover on Fernando Po, running an illegal gambling racket that attracts Nazi officers. Marjorie's cover is as a gold trader from New York, tasked with distracting the German commander Heinrich Lohr. The team has 44 days to act before the Nazis move their base elsewhere. Herron and Marjorie's job is to make sure the Duquesa is fully stocked so its destruction hits maximum impact. For his crew, Gus picks Anders Lassen, the wild Danish naval officer and lethal fighter; Freddy Alvarez, the explosives expert; Henry Hayes, the sailor driven by revenge for his brother's death at Nazi hands; and Geoffrey Appleyard, the strategist. But Gus soon learns Appleyard, sent ahead by Gubbins, has already been captured by the Germans. Knowing Appleyard has key intel, Gus diverts the team to Nazi-controlled Canary Islands for a rescue attempt. Meanwhile, Marjorie and Herron head to Fernando Po by train. Along the way, they swipe a suitcase from a German officer and discover the Ducasa's cargo: 400 torpedoes, 5,000 tons of diesel and 10,000 CO2 filters. They jot it down and slip the suitcase back before anyone notices. Back in London, some military leaders urge Churchill to surrender, convinced Britain can't survive. Churchill refuses flat out. He knows if Operation Postmaster is exposed, it could cost him his job, Parliament would likely boot him, but he's willing to risk it. After sinking the destroyer in the film's opening, but when they reach La Palma, they discover a high-ranking German officer is already there. Realizing that if Appleyard is transferred, they'll never get him back, Gus makes the bold call to launch the rescue in broad daylight. While scouting the area, the team is spotted by 2 German patrolmen, but Anders quickly drops them with his bow and arrows. With deadly precision, he also eliminates the guards in the watchtowers, clearing the way for the rest of the squad to move in undetected. Even though the stakes couldn't be higher, Gus and his crew stay cool, almost playful, as they storm straight into a heavily fortified German camp. Inside the command room, Anders finds Appleyard. Without hesitation, he charges in alone, taking down every German soldier inside with just a knife. Meanwhile, Marjorie and Herron arrive early on Fernando Po to prep the ground for Gus's arrival. Using Herron's illegal gambling hall as a base of operations, they quietly recruit local allies to back up Gus's team. Marjorie, under her cover as a gold trader, seduces SS commander Heinrich Lohr, gaining his trust while negotiating a deal to buy the gold he's selling. To create a distraction for when Gus's boat arrives, Herron plans to throw a massive party. One at his club and another right on the docks, pulling German attention away from the harbor. Herron also gets valuable intel from his friend, Spanish Captain Bainaya, who quietly resents the German occupation. Binaya warns him that the Duquesa is now scheduled to depart 3 days earlier than expected, adding even more pressure on their mission. With 15 days still to go before reaching Fernando P., Gus and his crew take the long way around to avoid German U-boats prowling closer to the African coast. But then Gus gets an urgent radio transmission. He makes the risky choice to cut straight through a British naval blockade in Nazi-occupied West Africa. It'll shave 3 days off the trip, but if the British discover their unauthorized op, they'll all be arrested on the spot. At the same time, Germany ramps up its war campaign with heavy bombing raids on London. As Gus's boat pushes through the blockade, they're intercepted by a British destroyer under Admiral Pound, acting on Naval High Command's orders. Just as it looks like Gus's team is about to be captured, a German U-boat suddenly strikes, forcing the destroyer to pull back, giving Gus and his crew the perfect chance to slip away. On Fernando P., Heron and Marjorie meet with Prince Cambalaï Kalu, asking for a tugboat to link up with Gus's team offshore. Understanding the stakes, Cambalaï not only agrees, but also supplies men to help seize the harbor if the Germans put up resistance during the raid. To ensure total distraction, Heron organizes 2 huge parties. One for the officers, another for the sailors, complete with enough prostitutes to keep everyone entertained. During the party, Marjorie and Heron learn that Lore secretly reinforced the Ducasa's hull, against the wishes of its Italian captain, Umberto. That upgrade makes the ship nearly unsinkable. Back in London, a mole inside Gubbin's staff leaks details of the mission to High Command. Admiral Pound moves to shut the op down, but Gus ignores the order. Gubbins tells Churchill their cover is blown, but reassures him Gus will push forward anyway. After all, Gus was chosen precisely because he doesn't follow rules. With the warning just in time, Gus and Appleyard change the plan. Instead of trying to sink the Duquesa, they'll hijack it and sail it out of the harbor to deliver it straight to the Royal Navy. Appleyard and Anders lead the assault on the Duquesa, while Gus and Freddy set charges on the harbor's fuel reserves to keep the Germans from mounting a pursuit. Gus and Hayes take the tugboats, ready to tow the Duquesa once it's freed. Freddy rigs explosives on its anchor chain so it can be pulled loose. But the plan hits a snag. The fuel dump detonates too early, alerting the Germans before the Duquesa is fully clear. The sailors rush out of the party and open fire on the escaping tugboats. A brutal battle breaks out, but Gus's crew, backed by Cambalaï's men, fight hard. Against the odds, they manage to haul the Duquesa out to sea. Lore eventually sees through Marjorie's act, but by then the raid is already underway. Before he can react, Marjorie shoots him in the head, sealing the mission's success. She and Heron then seize the last German patrol boat in the harbor and head out to rendezvous with the Duquesa. The hijacked ships are delivered to a British fleet stationed outside Lagos. But instead of congratulations, Gus and his team are arrested for carrying out the mission without authorization. Awaiting court-martial, they're saved at the last moment when Churchill personally intervenes. Not only does he clear them, he officially recruits them into his new Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Their daring raid cripples Nazi naval operations and sets the stage for America, freshly in the war after Pearl Harbor, to join the fight in Europe. In the closing montage, we see the fates of the key figures. Gus becomes a decorated war hero, leading more successful raids before marrying Marjorie at the start of her acting career. Appleyard racks up commendations, amusing even the king. Hayes goes on to become a legendary spy, enduring a year of Nazi torture without ever breaking. Lassen continues high-risk raids until he's killed in 1945. And Ian Fleming, who had been in Gubbin's circle all along, later draws inspiration from Operation Postmaster for his James Bond novels. Thanks for watching. Make sure to watch the full movie. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of the exciting content coming your way. Every new video is made with you in mind, and I'd love to have you here for the journey. See you in the next one.